Hey everybody, what's up? This is Jack with SGTV. I want to say to any returning viewers, thank you for continuing to support the channel. Um, for anybody new here, SpyPie Gaming makes content highlighting games, industry news, and events around the gaming community. We do focus a lot on Elder Scrolls Online and the Elder Scrolls series in general. That's our favorite. Um, out of we're big fans of RPGs and MMORPGs, and pretty much always have been. So, um, anyway, I decided that I wanted to do a new series showcasing all of the dungeons in Elder Scrolls Online. So what's going to happen is I'm on the Sork tank here that I did a build guide video for last week. I am going to run through each of the dungeons and kind of do a walkthrough. Some of the dungeons I'll be able to take, I guess, pick up the quest. Some of them I won't be able to. So, and I'm just going to go down the list. So if you go into your activity finder, where is it? Pretty bad, isn't it? Whenever there we go, group and activity finder. All right, so if you go into Dungeon Finder, and you can go to specific dungeons. I am literally just going to go straight down this list. There's a lot of dungeons, so when it comes to the veteran dungeons, I will have Spy with me, and likely we've also managed to pick up a healer, and he's coming. His particular build is coming along quite nicely, so um, we'll be in a group, or I'll be in a group when it comes to veteran. If I decide to do the veteran mode, if I do, it'll primarily just be to show you the difference in difficulty level. So, anyhow, the first one on the list here is Fungal Grotto 1, and that is where we're currently standing, right outside the dungeon. It is in Stonefalls. Oop, wrong button. Yeah, it's in Stonefalls. It is to the west. It is right here. And yes, there's a bunch of junk all over my map. It is some add-ons. I know Spy talks some nonsense about modding and whatnot. And I did take a little bit of an interest, strictly from a utility standpoint. So anyway, there's a couple of ways to get into a dungeon. You can go about it through the random dungeon finder. You can pick up the daily undaunted quests. You can transport directly, you can fast travel directly to a dungeon, and then you can just walk right in, just like a public dungeon. So, and I will be covering those as well. I am experiencing some silly frame rate, and I'm not happy about it, but I'm gonna guess. Alright, we'll start with Fungal Grotto 1. Should not affect gameplay all that much. And no, I don't have a super high frame rate. You can think what you want about that. It serves me just fine. I am at some point going to upgrade my gaming unit here. So if you were picking this quest up, you would be speaking with Vila Theran right here. And she would give you a quest. So, Anyway, here's what the map looks like. Kind of travel around. You can come around in a circle if you want to. Let's see here. It looks like there is a thieves trove right there. You gotta remember to look at that. Look for that. Alright. Anyhow. So, just kind of want to display, you know, or showcase the internals of the dungeons. A lot of people, you know I've looked it up before. I've run most of the dungeons. Some of them I've run and don't really remember running them. That's, it's a different story, I guess. I don't remember the layout. I remember being in them, don't remember the layout. So, which can pose an issue. Makes it kind of weird navigating the dungeon. But we'll make it. Anyhow, and I am not, if I can help it, going to be using a companion or anything to help, make it through. I'm going to try to solo. I haven't run into any dungeons that I haven't been able to do that with thus far. Sorry, excuse me. So, Fungal Grotto is one of the base game dungeons. It is one of the frequently, or it seems frequent, maybe I'm speaking incorrectly, but I do not see a thieves trove. Alright, anyway, moving on. So, alright, we got the first boss coming up here. And maybe that is the first boss. Tazkad the Packmaster. Yeah. Alright. So, it is possible to run through these things. You still will want to do your random daily. Even if you decide to run through, and do the dungeon. This is good to know that you can do this for farming purposes, really. Because a lot of overland set, like you see, we just picked up the Spider Cultists piece of the Spider Cultist set. This is an effective way to go by doing it. I know Spy was talking about farming the Automaton set. He ran, I forget what dungeon it's in exactly, but he ran the dungeon over and over and over, just a ridiculous amount of times. Just go ahead and pull everything we can. That way we can get it all dead at once. Somebody's immune to something. So I will say this. I primarily wanted to do this. I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know what? It'd be a good idea to do this for our audience, because I know personally I have looked up just to see before running the dungeon, really not so I could navigate it or anything necessarily, but just to put a resource out there for everybody. So that way you can look it up. I will be, like I said, doing all of the dungeons. The base game dungeons are far more simple or easier. Let's say easier. But the base game dungeons are a lot easier than the DLC dungeons. You'll come to find that out. This frame rate is really kicking my butt, and I don't know what is going on. Don't understand why I'm experiencing this. Alright, guy, look. We're gonna have a problem if you don't get your shit together. And as you can see, I'm not really having sustain issues. Yeah, I'm not dealing a ton of damage. I know. I'm gonna catch crap for that. Somebody's gonna be watching this and go, "Oh, but you're not putting out very much damage." Well, I built a tank. Now, in the build video, I did say, that's something that I am working on. He is going to get modified a little bit because I believe I can maintain the sustain, high resistance levels, things like that, and still be able to pump out more damage. I got to get some more transmute crystals, things of that nature, and find the right balance, of stats and everything. So, I forget what sets exactly drop in Stonefalls. I will make sure that I do link that, or link it. I'll make sure that I list that in the description of the video and the general layout. And I will try to timestamp it so that way everybody knows where we're at. Alright, guy. Knocking me down is not doing you any good. Just go ahead and give it up. That's really the thing that's dragging this fight out more than anything, it seems like. Can't stay standing, which is problematic. Not so much that he's actually dealing damage to me. Alright. We're gonna do this. Deplete our Magicka. But you're gonna die. I'm tired of fighting you. Oh. Oh. Big fella. There we go. Alright. Moving on. Let's see here. Make sure I didn't get turned around. Spider Cultist hat. Alright, so I can say with certainty that the Spider Cultist set is one of them that drops in here. But, yeah. There's usually a couple of overland sets that that can be found in these dungeons. And oftentimes the dungeon, so in addition to the quest, you usually have, in several of the dungeons, I'll say that, in several of the dungeons, you'll have the quest, which has primary bosses that you have to fight, and then there are some that you just avoid altogether. It's kind of your personal preference, I would say, as to whether or not you really want to mess with it. If I'm running a dungeon, I usually go ahead and just do everything in it. So I figure, why not? I'm here, These little dudes. Swarming mud crabs. Be alright. Anyhow. So, the point of me doing the solo run like this is really to show you that you can build in such a way that it's not a meta build necessarily, and still manage to run solo content. Now, if you don't have it quite tuned in, and sometimes it takes a minute, right? It does. It's when I started this sorcerer tank build, it was not remotely tuned in at all, which was problematic because if I wanted to do something, you know, along these lines, I had to have someone run with me, which was irritating. But once you get it tuned in, you know, it's entirely possible to run these things. If not, I suggest, this is, you know, it's just a suggestion, pick up one of the two companions in Blackwood. If you have the Blackwood, you know, if you have Beyond the base game, if you have Blackwood, go ahead and get yourself one of the companions. Set them up as a healer, right? That way you've got somebody that'll do the healing for you and take care of that, and you won't have to worry about it so much. So, but as you can see, I'm really not. I'm just, I mean, I did say that I've made a few changes, which, you know, when I switch to my back bar there, you can see that I've made a few changes. If you saw the build guide video. So, but my health regeneration is still 2600, I want to say, without any kind of buff to it at all. That's pretty good. I've got, you know, I cap, like when I start taking damage, my resistance caps. So we're good there. Why is this frame rate so choppy? God, it's really, really, really pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. Because normally this is not the case. Like, I have got really good internet. I've got a really good router. I really don't know exactly what is going on here. It's bothering me. And this is why it's important to get everything tuned in. And even with, so as you can see, even with a character who is not built necessarily to do damage, you know, this run is still, I mean, it's going, I've been in here roughly 15 minutes, something like that, so I can run a dungeon completely solo, like no companion, in 15 minutes. It's going to speed up just a tad bit, at least, with the companion, because you're going to have, your companion is going to be doing some damage as well. So, alright. And I do believe this may be the final boss, if I remember correctly. It's kind of funny that I'm doing, oh, you're getting cursed. That's all there is to that. So I have exactly enough time to do 2 heavy attacks in between each skill rotation. If you haven't paid attention, or if you haven't seen that anyway, I'd say paid attention is the wrong way to put it, but where you going? Come back here, buddy. I think maybe another reason, excuse me, I think maybe another reason it's probably good to get this, get a series like this going is we don't have a lot of gameplay on this channel, which is kind of odd because it's a gaming channel. So, you know, running dungeons, it's a fun thing to do, and we'll provide somebody, you know, with some reference material at some point, I'm sure, and get some gameplay in at the same time. So, I guess, if you've got any kind of exposure at all to ESO, there's several reasons that you might, be running specific dungeons, and it's, it can range from you're doing an Undaunted quest, daily quest, to you want to farm a set, like I'd mentioned, to, really, they're not effective necessarily, but they are a good source of experience. Really? Come on. Yeah, I'm aware you found it. Gosh dang, move out of the way. I cannot open it. I was ordered to do nothing. You didn't want to give me a quest. How about that? Why can't I open the door? Huh. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Alright. So, that is due to, just want to see if I could run up in there, honestly. That is due to probably the difference between Fungal Grotto 1 and Fungal Grotto 2. So, what just happened here? There we go. Alright. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Alright, so the way back to the beginning is through here. Not that you have to take this route out, because you absolutely don't at all have to take this route. But, just in case you're curious, this is the way out. And yes, I know I'm not running in the correct direction currently. I just want to see if there's anything sitting around over here, like a chest or something. So, anyway, there's usually more than one way back to the beginning of a dungeon, if you so see fit to use one of them. Now, I don't know why you would necessarily. Look at that. That fall didn't even kill me. That's pretty good. I got a pet out. Why don't I have a pet out? Darkwater Dreugh. It's interesting. I wonder if he's a combat pet. And then there's a portal, and then obviously you can just walk directly back out. And exit the same way that you came in. The other option is to go into the group tab or the social tab, go to groups, and down at the bottom you can leave instance, because all dungeons are instanced, if that's a word. Anyhow, so yeah, that was Fungal Grotto 1. Like I said, I will look up the sets. There's so many sets to keep up with. It's hard to know exactly, or hard to keep up with, I guess. There's so many sets, it's hard to keep up with what drops where. I honestly didn't even know, like once I had farmed it, I didn't even know where the sets that my character's wearing came from. So, Rothgar, Malabal Tor. So, but I will look up the sets that can be farmed in this dungeon. I will make sure that I include them in the description of the video, and I will separate out the different bosses with timestamps, so that way you can see it. And then I am going to work on fixing that frame rate, because it's just awful. It's usually not anywhere near that bad. That is just terrible. Anyhow, that if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It helps keep the community growing, and that's what our entire goal is here, is to grow a community. We're just two guys just like you. We enjoy playing games, and we enjoy sharing the experiences that come along with playing games. Spy has a rather large project that he's working on for the channel that I would say that both of us honestly hope that you guys enjoy. So be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for more of these dungeon guides. I say guides, dungeon walkthroughs, really. I'll just be, like I said earlier on, I'll be going straight down through the list, and then I will make some playlists and separate them all out by zone, DLC, base game, things like that. And I want anybody watching to understand, I won't always be able to pick up the quest. I have not been in every dungeon, but the dungeons that I have been in, I have picked the quests up for the most part. Obviously, I play the game. Gotta have some skill points. The quest lines in these dungeons, more often than not, give you a skill point. I don't think I've run into any that didn't give you a skill point so far. So, anyway, let's see. Today's question is going to be, what is the most difficult dungeon that you have run? Or what's the most difficult content that you have taken on in a solo capacity? Let us know in the comments down below. I'll go ahead and tell you, mine has been the Maelstrom Arena. I can do it, but it's far, far different than running a dungeon. There's a lot more mechanics involved. You do run into a dungeon every now and then that it requires a little bit of thought, because there's some mechanics involved in it. And a lot of the bosses, if you don't kill them fast, they have what I'll call stages. They're usually referred to as stages, where different mechanics kick in, and you have to then compensate for that. So that is, it's a big reason that you run these in 4-person groups. Public dungeons are a little bit different. Obviously, they, everyone shows up in them together, and if you've been in one, then you know the aggravation of standing and waiting for a boss to respawn. So, especially if there's something you need in that dungeon. The mythic helmet that I'm wearing, one of the leads came out of a public dungeon. And so I was running from boss to boss, making a circuit, and I had to wait for each boss. So, anyhow, let us know in the comments down below. I kind of got off rambling there for a minute. Let us know in the comments down below what the most difficult content that you've taken on in a solo capacity is. Could be a dungeon, could be an arena. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.